Everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to the whole Pomelo planet world, to the Earth, and everybody else. Today we are here for Pomelo Pitch Session Season 4, the Rapid Fire, and it's the number 2. We had one last week already. Thank you for joining us today. We hold this session in Twitter Spaces at Pomelo Grants, and if you're joining us on YouTube or on other platforms, feel free to join us. Pomelo, so thanks a lot for joining us here today. Pomelo is nothing without our community of grant creators, of donors. So we want to thank you, each and everyone, for supporting the Pomelo platform in your own way. Thank you for helping make the EOS and Antelope ecosystem as strong as possible. For those new to this space, a quick intro. Pomelo is a crowdfunding platform for public goods that are powered by the magic of quadratic funding, a concept introduced by Vitalik Buterin and firstly introduced or realized by Gitcoin, and since now almost a year available on EOS. If you want to learn more and dig a little bit deeper about all these concepts, you can go down in our Twitter feed. There are plenty of articles, Medium articles, some YouTube explainer videos that explain these concepts in detail. Currently, we are in season 4, and the upcoming pitch sessions. In the upcoming pitch sessions, we have grant applicants. We give them a chance to pitch to the Pomelo community, and show up and explain a little bit further what the grant is all about, and socialize here a little bit. We can follow each other for further questions, and this is networking live. Today we got a great pitch session lined up. We got presenting today, we got Hyperion, we got Polaris Music, we got the WaxDao, we got dNews, the EOS Spend Explorer, and Antelope Tools. We will also have Cambiatus and the Telos task system, the freelance ecosystem. So how will this run, this pitch session? A quick explainer for the rules. Each grant owner will have a maximum of 5 minutes to explain their grant to us. If there's time left over after the pitch, I may ask a question to the grant owner. Thanks for Jana helping us in the back to produce the show. And we'll be sharing some tweets from each grant owner while they speak, allowing the listeners in the crowd to easily find the grants on the Pomelo.io platform, and make some donations and read further about the grant, more details. Some of the grants are really detailed and have some stats, and also some of the grants they already had participated in last season and already reported some of their achievements. What you can also do when you browse the platform is create your own collection of your favorite grants that you think are the most important ones. That's a new feature for season 4. So donations, so season 4 is open now for 1 week, a good week, about 8 days. And we've already seen quite some impressive activity. But donations will be open for another 13 days in a couple of hours, so there's plenty of time. We'll meet here every Thursday around the same time. So if you enjoy this season, join us for next season. And if you're having a grant, please go to our profile, and there you will see a Google sign-up form where you can apply for the pitch sessions. The pitch sessions are here on Twitter Spaces. There's also YouTube format where you can sign up, which is like more in-depth 45 minutes to 1 hour interviews where you can really lay out all your experience and what you want to do. That's another format. And we have the pitch sessions also for the Korean community and the Chinese community happening on Saturdays. If you don't speak Korean or Chinese, don't worry, we got you covered because we got translators on there. So before we get into the pitch session, I want to ask, how's everybody doing today? Do I need to explain further the Pomelo concepts, or are you guys excited to start pitching your projects?
We're hyped.
Feeling good.
All right.
Feeling great.
Excited to get started.
Yeah, okay, let's do this. So as the first speaker for today, I had Polaris Music. Andrew Ware, are you ready? Andrew Ware
Yes, I
is a
am.
music producer, right? Who ran a record label and a recording studio called Ursa Polaris, and has played drums for over a dozen bands, including San Diego indie rock legends Weatherbox. Andrew now works with EOS Nation as a technical writer and agile product owner, and has an interesting grant to share with us. It's go time.
All right. Thanks to Martin and the Pomelo team for having me. I'm Andrew Ware. I'm a musician and music lover, and my project is the Polaris Music Project. It was inspired by being obsessed with music, browsing Wikipedia, and discovering the crazy connections between musicians in various projects. Like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, John Frusciante and Flea played in the Latin-influenced prog rock band the Mars Volta. And Flea also played in Atoms for Peace, which was Tom York's side project. And the trend continues back through history. Even Led Zeppelin consisted of former members of the Yardbirds. So I was learning about all these musical connections and trying to find the songs on iTunes and thought, why can't I do both in the same place, like Wikipedia with music links that you could play? But the real thing that made me want to make something new was taking this music encyclopedia and putting it in a visualization that I could browse. I want to see at a glance that the Mars Volta also consisted of former At the Drive-In members, or that the Yardbirds also featured Eric Clapton and Jeff Beck, the latter of whom recorded songs with Keith Moon and John Entwistle from The Who. It's like 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. I'd probably browse it all day. My dad introduced me to this amazing data visualization that his old company Xerox created in their Park laboratory, which displays connections between points on an Escher-like hyperbolic plane called a hypertree. A developer named Nicolas Garcia Belmonte created an open source version of this visualization with the perfect implementation for a music graph encyclopedia. But my discovery of blockchain made me think that this was a thing to fight for. Using blockchain, I could use this music graph to reshape the music industry, to right the wrongs of over 90% of music industry revenue going to people other than the musicians, or of artists being taken advantage by obscure and barely enforceable legal contracts. I'm personally excited by projects like Emanate and others that simplify payment structures. I'm also excited about the possibilities for NFTs, like fan club memberships or early bird tickets and special edition copies, but I want to explore the true purpose of blockchain technologies as I understand them. As I understand, each little blockchain economic system encodes a particular theory about how an ecosystem works. The true purpose of blockchain is to create a competitive ecosystem marketplace that offers different theories about their ecosystem in an actual scientific test. My theory is that the musicians and people who helped them create music deserve most of the credit for the music they created, roughly equally on average. So I want to use this music encyclopedia to reward musicians and other creators in the industry through the issuance of blockchain tokens to encode this theory into a mini economic system. It's an experiment that I think could have huge positive externalities. I also think others could adopt this same model for many other things, like wrestlers, podcasters, or the Kevin Bacon inspiration, movie stars. In the future, there may even be some way to interconnect these ecosystems. At the end of the day, I just want to release this thing into the world. I've never thought this sort of thing is achievable without the coding experience I should have learned when I was younger and more language receptive. But with Pomelo and the new bounty system and the experience I've been building as an agile product owner, I have a medium level of confidence that this is achievable. I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing, but I've been talking to all sorts of people about it. And I think the architecture I've built is easy and cheap to deploy on the EOS blockchain. Some funds will be used to cover user resources, but I plan to use most of the funds to engage in the Pomelo Bounty program to develop the open source project. I welcome anyone interested in helping or chatting about the project. Thanks for your time.
All right. That gets me very exciting. You got 1 more minute to go. Is there somebody on the stage right here of the professional pitchers that has a question? Otherwise, I shoot a quick one. Okay. So you mentioned already Emanate, and you're a fan of Emanate. How would have you been in touch with them, and are there any ideas from your side how it could be implemented?
I did send them an email a while back or I sent Sean Gardner an email, and he seemed interested in some sort of collaboration. Since I didn't have anything solid, it's sort of like, you know, it's easy for me to be like, hey, doesn't this sound cool? And he's like, yeah, that sounds cool. So we haven't, you know, settled on terms or anything like that,
Okay.
but we did discuss, and I think there's some potential for crossing over the metadata between the two,
Absolutely.
to allow maybe, you know, plays on one platform to be counted on the other. Or I don't know exactly what the best kind of implementation combo would be there, but there's definitely some ability for a kind of mutual benefit.
Yeah, like why I'm asking is because like Emanate the database starts just now, and their cross connection are quite smaller to grasp, and starting like to read this history right now, like makes a graph like kind of growing with what you're having right now. It's like the whole music history, which is like a large undertaking, but the potential of this community might be already like visible with like a smaller database. Anyway, like time is up, but it's a super exciting project, and I wish you good luck. And yeah, check out the Polaris Music Grant on Pomelo, as Jana just shared.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Cool. Moving on, I'm happy that Thiago's on the stage, and he comes from the Hyperion team. Thiago, can we get a quick mic check from your side?
Hey, mic check. Mic check.
Awesome, awesome. We can hear you loud and clear. So thanks for joining. Thiago is the CEO of EOS Rio. EOS Rio is one of the founding block producers of EOS and have been working on technical contributions since the mainnet launch. Hyperion is one of the most prominent ones, I would say, and we will hear more about it right now. You got 5 minutes, and it's go time now.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, history APIs are important for blockchain as a fundamental piece of infrastructure, because they basically make the blockchain queryable. So if you need to know transactions that a given account made, you need history API, since it's not on the state, or any other information that you need to query or aggregate, you will need a history API. And it's really challenging to do history API for Antelope IO chains, just because we process a lot of blocks and a lot of transactions per second. We are the protocol processing most transactions in the world daily. And we created Hyperion to make this possible, since the Block 1 solution was deprecated early on. And Hyperion is currently developed and maintained by EOS Rio, and it's operated by us and by many other teams around the world. So this specific grant is for us to help keep maintaining the software and also upgrading our servers. If you get the whole Hyperion ecosystem, all the operators, we are serving more than 100 million transactions a day, and from our end, close to 10 million transactions a day. And with the last Pomelo grant, we were able to acquire the new Threadripper chipset and assemble a new server, so that a new cluster, actually, because it's multiple servers, to serve queries, history APIs for free for the Antelope IO ecosystem. So any contribution is very welcome, and we will keep working to make EOS great. Basically, that's it.
Awesome. I personally like, if there's nobody having another question. So blockchain history, I think, is something. I mean, you and I understand this, but for some people in the crowd are listening right now, maybe you can give like one example of what would be the use case, or what would be the user. How do they benefit from a solution like Hyperion, which basically queries the blockchain very fast? Where is this infrastructure really needed?
Yeah. So if you have a block explorer and it shows your transaction history, it's querying a history API. If you go to any blockchain game and you want to know like the last moves, or even something that's not stored on a table, which will consume RAM, you will be querying the history API. So it's a very basic infrastructure, in the sense that if you're a developer for Web 2, you will choose your database. Like you say, okay, I'll use SQL database or NoSQL, or any database that will make things easier for you. Blockchains are not like that. Blockchains are databases that are not built for querying, but for distributed validation. So it's a basic piece of infrastructure. You need information to process and give an output. That's the basic computation. So probably any application that is actually working on blockchain is needs some kind of history query, being for informing the user about his historical transactions, or just to basically aggregate anything that's not saved on a table on the blockchain.
Right. So when I have a wallet and I want to see all my transactions that I did, my transaction history, then Hyperion helps the wallet provider, the wallet application, to get this data pretty fast and reliable. Correct?
Yeah, correct. And or if you want to check anything that you've done in the past, because developers will have the option to save that on RAM. That's expensive, or just to have that as a transaction on the blockchain. Every time that you're querying any historical information, you're using Hyperion. So there are different applications for different dApps, but basically they all use Hyperion. And it's very important that we have a strong infrastructure, but because it's hard to index Antelope blockchains because of the volume, and because we are producing 2 blocks per second. So the technology needs to keep evolving as the protocol evolves also.
Yeah. It's true that Antelope chains are pushing the envelope on even the hardware, as we learned in some of the Discord sessions, in the community Discord sessions. All right, so I think it's pretty clear that this is a crucial infrastructure that continues to evolve and needs to be developed further as we increase the abilities of the blockchains that we're building. So read and write needs are equally important. All right, thanks, Thiago, for coming up. And everybody that has more questions, check out the links in the top. Follow Thiago and, Rio Blocks in the house. So next one, we got another technical grant, but a fun one because it's all about NFTs. Mike D, are you ready to pitch the WaxDao?
Let's go.
All right. So Mike D, coming over from the Wax community, made a lot of tools available for NFT creators. And now the whole suite of NFT tools comes over to the EOS ecosystem, which I'm super excited about. Everything else you will learn right now from Mike D, starting in 2, 3, 5, 1, 0. Let's go.
All right. So imagine you're a random person and you have a great idea for a new crypto project, but you don't know how to code and you don't have thousands of dollars to hire developers to write your project for you. So you're going to do one of two things. You're either going to quit and give up because it's too hard and too time consuming, or you're going to find yourself a home on a nice blockchain where there's lots of tools available for you, like Ethereum or Polygon or Binance Smart Chain. And both of these outcomes are bad for EOS because they result in us losing users. And we don't want to lose users. We want to gain users, right? So this is where WaxDao comes in. WaxDao is a set of creator tools that currently lives on the Wax blockchain and allows people to create new projects without needing to learn how to code, and ultimately opens up the door for new projects to be created, which results in more end users coming to EOS, which is what we all want. So what are these tools that I speak of? Well, we have a token creator that's no code. It allows anybody to create their own token on EOS or on Wax in just a few clicks. You don't need to download anything. You don't need to learn any code. You don't need to learn how to use the command line to compile contracts. You just click a few buttons and you have your own token for your project. Then we also have staking systems that are do-it-yourself. So everybody wants a staking system for their project nowadays. They want their NFTs to be stakeable. They want their token to be stakeable, but it's expensive. It's hard to code if you don't know what you're doing. So we've made a tool that basically allows you to click a few buttons, fill out a form, and your NFTs have a whole entire staking system built around them. Same thing goes for your token or your LP token, so you can reward people for staking those. We also have an NFT market where you can create drops and you can accept any token that you like. So if you've created a token for your project, you can do drops on WaxDao and accept that token for your drops. We have a pre-minted pack creator. It's free to use. We do mint on demand drops, pre-minted drops. We also have a super blender that allows people to blend non-fungible and fungible tokens as ingredients. And as a result from the blend, you can give out NFTs, you can give out fungible tokens, and you can even give out pre-minted NFTs. You can do creative stuff with the mutable attributes, like requiring specific attributes for the blend ingredients, and then giving special attributes for the blend results. We have a do-it-yourself DAO creation tool that allows people to create their own DAO in just a few clicks by filling out a form, no code involved. So basically you go to WaxDao, you select the different options for your DAO, and you have a DAO for your project. You can also select which token or which asset you want to be the governance asset. So you can basically make your project's token become a governance token by making a DAO where your token is the governance asset. There's other tools as well, but I don't know how much time I have left. So basically, to summarize, I believe EOS is missing opportunity due to a lack of quality tools out there. I know there are some good ones. I know we have .gems, but overall, I think there's a lot of room for more tools. And I believe WaxDao can help solve that problem by bringing more tools, which will result in more projects and more end users.
Awesome. So you have 1.5 minutes left. So you can continue to explain further or tell me what would be the next tool that you're building if your grant is super successful.
Yeah, so we have, I want to do modifications, basically upgrades to all the existing tools. So right now the NFT farms specifically are, I mean, they're pretty advanced, but there's more features I want to add just to make it a lot more customizable for people, because there's been so many different requests for, like, you know, different ways that people can stake things and stake weighted assets and things like that. We also have a token explorer. I think I forgot to mention. I don't know how that really helps as a tool, but it's like a coin market cap for Wax tokens. I want to build that on EOS as well. So it's like a place where people can find information about different projects on EOS, like their NFT collection and their token, the volume, where it's trading, all that stuff.
Awesome. And another, like, personally, like, I'm a big fan of your YouTube channel, where you share a lot of the knowledge about, like, how to build on Antelope as well, right?
Yeah, I have an entire 9-part coding series that shows people how to write or Antelope contracts.
Yeah, and that would be potentially another grant. Like, hint, hint. You can, for your tooling, you can get a technical grant application, but for educational material or these kind of things, media creation, you could basically apply for more funding.
Oh,
Just,
wow.
you know, you could go for that. Little tip from my side. That's already 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, man. Awesome work. Make sure to follow Mike to learn more about WaxDao. And yeah, on his Twitter, I think he's also sharing plenty of his YouTube videos if you want to learn how to code on Antelope. So who's next? Who's next? How about a little news from dNews? Perry Sheener's in the house. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go, Stefan. Thank you.
Cool.
Uh-oh, I just lost you.
No, I just muted myself without
Oh,
realizing it.
okay.
So, Perry Sheeners of dNews, he's a coder, a writer, an entrepreneur, a student of blockchain, economics, martial arts, yoga, dance, and meditation. Hell, I'm excited to hear about your project.
Okay, great. Thank you, Stefan. I'm not going to talk about dance or meditation or martial arts. What I'm going to talk about is news, decentralized news, or rather the solution to the problem of news from a decentralized community. Because we have a decentralized community, yet it doesn't really lend itself to the gathering of news. So dNews is a solution for that. dNews gathers all the social media posts from the community, puts them in a web app that makes it easy to navigate, stay informed, and be engaged in all things EOS.io. dNews is an aggregator of EOS.io Community Explorer, where A is for dNews is a web crawling robot and web app explorer. dNews is an aggregator and calendar of community events. It's an aggregator of media, videos, articles, podcasts. It's a companion technology to any decentralized community. It's mobile friendly, tablet friendly, desktop friendly, web app across all devices. It slices, it dices. dNews is a time saver for the community veterans and a great place to dive in for newcomers. It's a single full text search for everything EOS.io across multiple platforms and media formats. It's a stream of EOS.io community consciousness. It's available in many popular languages, and it's a unifier of things decentralized. At its core, dNews aggregates streams of videos, articles, and podcasts from various social media platforms being published 24 hours a day into a single full-text searchable stream that is filterable by source, media format, or your own keyword search. dNews streams labels that are also known as tags or topics that are attached to these incoming social posts, media posts, that make up the dNews stream. This collective stream of tags helps us to observe the trends and patterns as a community whole, as well as easily filter on individual streams that may span multiple sources and media formats. In other words, we can easily browse a single stream of a particular topic across multiple platforms without having to navigate to every single one or even be aware of another account, or even having to log into your own account and its own platform manipulated feed. dNews aggregates community events into a single community calendar. Events like the live weekly Zoom or Discord or Twitter spaces like this one, meetings which are bringing to life the ideas of this more equal animals form of governance that is being practiced in our community, which has different names now. Also, hackathons, conferences, Ask Me Anything sessions, anything of interest to the community. It also aggregates live cryptocurrency market data for the convenience of its users. So, what precisely is the problem that it's addressing? By definition, a DAO is comprised of disparate, unrelated parties posting to different platforms, their own corporate or personal websites, and in different formats. It's a mix of videos, articles, and podcasts constantly being published 24 hours a day. It's madness to keep track of, especially if it's not your primary responsibility. But for anyone participating in a decentralized community, keeping track of all of this is part of your job. Add to that the size of the community and the fact that it's in constant flux in terms of who's participating. Add to that how social media platforms manipulate our individual feeds and determine what we see and when. For these reasons, no two people have the same experience on these platforms, even if they follow the exact same accounts, which is not helpful in a decentralized community seeking consensus. Social media is broken, especially for decentralized community. dNews fixes that. So how does dNews fix that? dNews is more convenient to the user, it's fair to the publisher, and promotes community engagement. It does that by aggregating social media posts without additional work or intervention by the source publisher. So if you have a site that I'm drawing from, you don't need to do anything special. Automatically and in real time, as they are published, and presents them in an interface where the user enjoys what is effectively a cross-platform, cross-media search and filter specifically tuned to the EOS.io community. A cross-platform, cross-media search and filter specifically tuned to the EOS.io community. Can I have a mic check, Stefan? You see, not a mic check, a time check, please.
Yeah, you just ended exactly on 5 minutes.
Okay. I've got
amazing.
So much more. I've got so much more, but hopefully I'll get invited somewhere else. But I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you very much, Stefan.
Absolutely, absolutely. Everybody follow Perry for further questions. Check out his grant on Pomelo. Jana shared 3 tweets on the top of our space right here. And yeah, feel free to join next Wednesday on the community fireside chat, or book a longer session with the Generios team for the other pitch sessions. So you can, there are multiple formats as I explained in the beginning. This here is a rapid fire, but awesome speed, and thanks for being on time like a clockwork. So cool.
Okay, thank you, Stefan.
Thank you. Next up, we got the Edenia team coming up with 2 grants at the same time. So Javier, is this you hiding behind the Edenia logo?
This is me. Yeah, I logged in as our Edenia account.
That's awesome. And just a little update, is there someone from the Cambiatus team on the stage? Yes, okay, cool. Then you would be next. But first we got Xavier pitching us about the EOS Spend Explorer and also the Antelope tools, which is a dashboard for Antelope block exploring. Javier Fernandez is the co-founder and tech lead at Edenia. So Edenia, I will give you 5 minutes first for the first pitch, and then you can let me know if you want to do a little break and then come up again, or if you want to go basically go twice with 2 grants.
I'll try and fit both of them in so we can make best use of time, and I'll try and keep it short. So I'm Javier Fernandez. I'm representing Edenia. We are also known as EOS Costa Rica on the EOS mainnet, Genesis block producer. And I'll go in the order that you mentioned, are both of our grants. The first one is the EOS Spend Explorer. This is the second season that we're presenting this grant to the community. And we think that the EOS Spend Explorer is a really important public good. It's meant to provide information around communities that are managing treasuries. And we want to improve treasury management on EOS and potentially other Antelope networks. So our first use case is based around Eden. And what we're doing is we're collecting information on all those Eden delegates that are receiving funds, and then creating an easy way for those Eden delegates to categorize where those funds are going. So we want to expand to other communities. For example, a Pomelo grant can provide information as to where the funds were used. Block producers can provide information as to where their funds are being used. Or ENF grants, for example, can also have a mechanism to report how funds are being allocated. So basically, it's a data collection and visualization mechanism that provides insightful information about the allocation of public funds. So community members can log into the DApp and easily categorize and describe their expenses, because we track all the token transfers, the EOS.io token transfers coming from their accounts. And they can use this spend tool to categorize them, or by including a specific memo field in the token transfer memo. If you include a specific memo format, then we will parse that memo format and categorize those transactions. So the idea is that we come up with a list of accounts for each community that get tracked. Every time they withdraw from the treasury, that is tracked as income for that account. And then different expenses can be categorized. So we can identify that token transfer as a community expense. We can categorize the expense into one of several predefined categories and describe with additional information the nature of that expense. So we think it's really important when using public funds to provide transparency so that we can also encourage more people to invest or to donate to these communities. So for Eden, which is our first use case, we've already got an initial MVP released from our previous Pomelo grant. And one really cool thing we did is that we hired 4 interns from Costa Rica's technical universities to build this project. So as a kind of secondary impact of this project we're building is that we're training new developers to build on Antelope and EOS.io. And well, what we're aiming to do is to create really easy to use tools to increase transparency on the use of these funds. And I think that if we create a standard that different users across the networks are familiar with, we can then evolve to create really clear crypto accounting and funds allocation reports, and really foster the trust in these networks and being able to donate more to these communities, knowing that those funds have some way of being reported and tracked, and we can really measure the impact that funds like the Eden community are having. Where's this money going? If anyone wants to donate to the Eden Treasury, well, they'll want to know exactly what kind of impact those funds are having. So this is our second season for the Spend Explorer. It's already live. You guys can check it out. It's all open source. It's on our GitHub. We're going to be talking a lot more about this Spend Explorer with the upcoming Eden distributions for delegates, and really try and garner support from the community to adhere to this standard. And it's a really simple to use standard. It's really just adding a memo field, or if you have already made these transactions and want to categorize them after the fact, you can use our application. You log in with Anchor, you see a list of all your token transfers, you select the one you want to categorize, and then you select one of the categories and add a description for it. And this allows us to create really nice graphs and visualizations as to where the money is going generally for the entire community, and also specifically for each delegate or each member of the community where they're using the funds. And we're really excited. I think there's a good use case for providing more transparency to where public funds are going. This is a challenge for decentralized communities, and we're all about radical transparency and accountability. So that's what we're trying to achieve with this. I'll stop there. I'm not sure where I am with time, but
no, pretty
there.
much 5 minutes. Pretty much 5 minutes on the EOS Spend Explorer. I love it, especially like since it makes transparency easy, right? That's the way for a lot of people this makes sense. It's technically possible to be super transparent on a blockchain, but making it easy for users that are maybe not technical, that's a great achievement. I love it.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we can do thanks to Hyperion, for example, and the history solutions, right? Where we can gather all this information about what's happening on the blockchain and then make really nice queries and reports for that.
Absolutely. I wanted to say that.
Oh.
No, you read my mind. Okay, so for the second grant, you got another 5 minutes right now.
Okay, I'll be short with it. Thank you for the time. So our second grant's called Antelope Tools. This is the third season that we're working on this grant. So it's really exciting that Pomelo's empowered this project. We started this project 3 years ago. It was called the EOS.io dashboard. It's an open source option for a network and infrastructure monitor. We decided to create an open source tool because we didn't really find one that was open source. And basically, we decided to create our own, and it's been a public good since the beginning. But when Pomelo came around, we're like, this is perfect for what we're working on. And so this is our third season. We've rebranded from EOS.io dashboard. With the recent leap to Antelope, we changed it to antelope.tools. So that's our domain name as well. It's currently running on over 10 EOS.io and Antelope chains. So EOS, Jungle Testnet, Telos, Wax, Libre, Ultra Testnet, Proton, LackChain. And also other chains that are not that are private or not as known can use this tool to monitor their infrastructure. So anyone's free to install an instance of the um, Antelope tools to have a way of visualizing who the block producers are, what nodes they're running. And we grab this data not just from the chain and the system contracts, but we're also using the BP-JSON standard that the Rio team came up with. So the idea is to have a lot of objective information on who are the block producers, where are the block producer rewards going. So we've got really interesting visualizations where we can see which block producers are located where in the world and where funds are going for these block producers. We're performing node health checks to make sure their API nodes are responding and they're synced up. And some of these nodes, unfortunately, are getting rewards, but don't really comply with running or infrastructure. There's no nodes running, or they're not responding. They're also not publishing BP-JSON data on who they are, but they're receiving network inflation. So we really want to make it an objective way of seeing, well, who are we voting for on these chains? Which block producers are doing a good job? And which block producers are really giving back to the network and making the network more resilient? So it's a way of increasing transparency around the infrastructure and the actors that are running nodes. And also, it's a way for developers to know which API endpoints are more responsive so that when I develop on these chains, I know which API nodes to use. If I'm configuring my node as a node operator, I might want a list of all the peers that I can peer with. I can obtain that list from the Antelope Tools dashboard. And one really cool thing, which we've added in the last season, is we created an API. And this allows for other applications to source data on all the block producers. So if I want a list of the block producers and all their BP-JSON data, logos, how many rewards they're getting, votes they have, what their API endpoints are, what their nodes are, I don't have to create all these complex queries to bring that information. We've got a API that provides this information. So not only do we have the UI for users to visualize the state of the network and the network health, we can also integrate with other applications. So some of the integrations we've done, EOS Rate, which is another more subjective way of rating block producers, is sourcing block producer data from this Antelope Tools application, voting portals, proxies, some of the work being done around Eden as well is using our API to source information on who are the different block producers and what the state of the infrastructure is. And we're really interested in getting more community feedback and ideas as to how to increase transparency around the network infrastructure. We just want to make the data available and easy to understand. We're not making any subjective judgment on any of the infrastructure providers. We just want to make the data available so people can draw their own conclusions, and we can all contribute to have a healthier blockchain network where we're really supporting those block producers that are doing the best job and that have the most reliable infrastructure. So I think this Antelope Tools has been really an example of a successful execution of a Pomelo grant. And I want to thank everyone who supported our team. And during this season, we want to continue to build. Again, we're using a team of 4 interns that are doing their kind of capstone project and training developers. And hopefully those developers will be entering the larger ecosystem and building other cool stuff on Antelope.io. So these projects are also a way of getting new developers into the ecosystem, teaching them how to build, teaching them how the network works. And hopefully with you guys' support, we can continue to build some really cool stuff that helps foster the greater ecosystem through these public goods. So I'll
Absolutely.
stop there. And,
Yeah. Happy you mentioned again, like that you're training interns and junior devs while building these tools. I think that's really like 2 birds, 1 stone, right? It's pretty awesome. And learn more about Edenia. They're doing a bunch of cool stuff by clicking on the links, follow their Twitter, donate to that grant. And I'm also excited for what's coming next from your team and happy to use your tools, which are, again, like, Javier asked for feedback. So if you guys want more features, reach out to him. The composability is another aspect. that you just pointed out, like that these things are open source and other people can use the stats that are coming out there. Pretty cool stuff. All right. Staying like it's we have like a pretty heavy South American crowd here on the stage. Next up is I think Cambiatus, Luis and Henrique. Are you also coming from South America?
Yes, we are.
Awesome.
From Brazil.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So
All right. So Cambiatus is the next pitch right now, and I think you guys can just go. You're two of them.
okay.
You're two, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Let's
Thanks.
go.
I'll start. First, big shout out to Thiago and Xavier. They are both our technical partners and advisors in Cambiatus, Use Rio and Use Costa Rica. Thanks, guys, for the amazing support. So I'll first start talking about Cambiatus. Cambiatus is an open source platform that allows communities to create complementary currencies and collaborative businesses, which are a kind of a DAO. We call it collaborative businesses because when we are talking with Latin Americans that don't have a lot of idea of what blockchain is, what Web3 is, we just say in easy terms, and we make it more accessible. So while we were developing Cambiatus and making our tools more accessible to Latin Americans and Africans, Henrique came up with this amazing idea of developer tooling that basically helps the implementation of smart contracts in the Elm language. I'll let him speak about that further. But I think it's important to say that we participated in the Pomelo Season 3 with the roles and permissions feature for Cambiatus. This feature is being developed, and we are now applying for the ENF grant for a larger grant. So thanks to everyone that collaborated in the Season 3. We sent on the Pomelo crowdfunding Telegram channel a bunch of links with the smart contracts that we are developing and all that. If anyone wants to have access to it, to know how we've been using the funds, please let us know. Once Edenia is ready, we might be willing to use the solution to give more transparency around it. But for now, that's what we can do to show. But we're gonna do a post also telling how we've been using the funds. Now I'll pass you Henrique to talk about the EasyElm-EOS, which is the tool that we are applying this season.
All right. So, like we said, uh, uh, this tool came out of a necessity for us at Cambiatus. We have a web app. It's built with Elm in the front end and EOS as our contracts, kind of our backend. So I'm gonna tell you what we were doing, what we tried to do, and what we finally came up with. So I'm gonna be a little bit technical. I'm gonna try to be as understandable as possible, so bear with me. But basically what we were doing, each page in our app, each page had to manage the format of the data we were sending to EOS. So for example, to submit a transaction or query for a table, each page knew what it had to do, but it was very brittle because it's just a JSON file and it can change, we can make mistakes. And then what we try to solve it with, we try to create Elm types and functions to make sure we send the right data. And we spent a lot of time on it and we just gave up. It was just too hard. It took too long. We had other things to do. And it was working the way it was. And then we came up with another solution based around code generation. So we built this tool. It reads every contract that you tell it to read. It reads the ABIs. Basically, it tells what the transaction accepts, what columns are in the table, and all of that. And then it generates all of that Elm code that we were trying to do manually, but it's automatic and it happens in an instant, and everything is great. So that's the basic idea of the project. That's what we were creating for us, and it's all open source, by the way. But our goals are, as we said, we want to make more accessible access to blockchain tech. So what we want to do is, with all of that code generation, we can give you a single button. You click on it, you give it some contracts, maybe your brand logo, name, and colors, and it automatically deploys an entire web application on the internet. Your users can start using your contracts right away, and it's all automatic. Uh, that's mostly for people who are not very technical, but we can also generate, for example, forms just to meet transactions or table queries or anything like that. And the tool is open source. It generates code for you. It's all your code. You can do whatever you want with it. And the idea is that it makes access to use type safe, faster, easier, simpler, and more accessible to people who can't really code or don't want to spend time on the front end after spending so much time on their contracts. That's pretty much it. I don't know how much time I have left, but if you want to check out the project, it's live at github.com/Henrique. That's the same as my Twitter username, /elm-EOS. That's it. Thank you.
Awesome. And also pretty much on the dot, even though you were two people. You deserve a medal for this one. And I mean, going through your grant, you're already live since 2019 and have over more than 2,000 members already making use of your tools. That's pretty amazing. And I myself, I'm a big fan of complementary currencies. Definitely something that deserves funding, in my opinion, because it has so much potential to bring people into blockchain and reap the benefits of it. And you guys making it obviously a little bit easier for people that are not as technical. Pretty cool stuff. So for everybody in the crowd, I'm not sure why. Do you guys see the grants for Cambiatus? I think that was my mistake, like not collecting your guys' tweets, but make sure to follow Luis, make sure to follow Henrique to learn more about the grants that they're having and Cambiatus, which is a pretty interesting platform.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else?
I think it's important to mention that most of our members, they are in Latin America and Africa. So our software is also very related to refi, and we've been impacting people's lives that they would not usually go to Web3 applications. So it's kind of really cool to be doing the onboarding of people in the global south and helping them use the technology to actually improve their lives. So thanks for the time, and yeah, thanks for hosting the rapid fire pitch.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for you guys there. Okay. Telos tasks. Are you ready to go? Hello. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm here. No problem. I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well. Destiny. That's you, right? Destiny Marshall?
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. So your 5 minutes are starting now.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for the time and opportunity to pitch my project. So here at Telos Task, we are building something revolutionary in the freelance world. If you've heard about if you have used Fiverr before, then you must love Telos Task. If you have ever thought of a freelance marketplace that offers decentralized services to users of its platform, with or without any skills, so Telos Tax wants to build a freelance platform that appreciates those with skill set and those without no skills at all. So we want to build a seamless service for both givers and takers of listed tax on our platform without any stress and any regard listing or any hard bottlenecks for task completion. The task platform will be designed as a freelance marketplace for micro and macro tasks. This means that both users with highly specialized skills or experience and non-professional users with no particular skills can participate in the same marketplace and still benefit immensely from the utilization of our platform. So it is generally open to those with too many tasks to handle or those looking to outsource jobs that they have no skill for, maybe individually or company. It is equally open for who is interested in making a living simply by taking up listed tasks, which will be subdivided into what I refer to as micro and macro tasks. So we decided to build a freelance using the blockchain because we figure out that there are a lot of problems facing the traditional freelance world, the gig economy. And several freelance platforms are fraught with not user-friendly features and bottlenecks. Some do not even have adequate tools in place to carry out proper buying and selling of tasks, as well as proper administration of rewards after task completion. So we want to revolutionize the freelance by making it not just a workspace for completing jobs and all that. We want to make it like a marketplace where you can sell and buy tasks. And whether you are skillful or you are not skillful, the marketplace is always open for you to participate. Because sometimes when you think about Fiverr, Upwork and the rest, before you can participate in the platform, or let me call it a marketplace, you must be a professional. You must have a particular skill set, a particular skills that you want to offer. But at Telos Tax, we want to make the gig economy more broader. We want to invite both people that are not skillful and people that are skillful, in the sense that we are labeling it into micro and macro. While the macro features is basically for those people that have this particular skill set. They have these skills that they want to offer to other companies or individuals that are requesting for such services. While the micro is like the crowd force or the crowd source of the platform, which deals with anyone that wants to earn. Maybe you don't have any skills at all, but you just want to earn. So we added a features called the micro, where you can share. It's basically like the crowd. So you want to promote your social media, or you want followers, or you want to run a campaign. So we created the micro where anybody can come and retweet your tweet and get paid with the task token, or anybody can follow you and get paid, whether in Twitter, in Facebook, Instagram, or any other platform you want to run a campaign on. And we other have extended features which are task dropping, where upcoming projects might come to list their airdrops, and they are rewarded if you join the airdrop. And we have task clapping. If you remember about thunderclapping, then you should also love the task clapping. The thunderclapping was stopped or halted because of some policies of Twitter. So we want to add that features to our platform, where individuals or companies can use the task clapping to send messages to anybody around the world, as long as we have the crowdforce in our platform. So Telos Tax basically is providing a whole lot of solutions that eliminate problems. That was to create a standard, stable, decentralized platform on the blockchain with its own economic system. We will add value to the blockchain ecosystem and curb abuse, while simultaneously creating marketplace for both experts and not experts. Users are free to participate in different tasks accordingly to their micro and macro strengths. So we are trying to keep that platform busy. This is successfully and seamlessly turn clients to workers and workers to clients' thoughts, creating a sustainable marketplace with no restrictions of tax participation or listing, whilst promoting a healthy platform and a laudable community of Telos Tax. Why we built this platform on the Antelope, using the Antelope software. So I know a lot of us might have a grasp of what Telos Tax is, but what is actually Telos Tax itself? So Telos Tax is a peer-to-peer freelance marketplace.
Destiny, your 5 minutes are almost over.
Okay.
Much, so
yeah, I'm already done. Yeah, I'm already done. So Telos Tax is a peer-to-peer freelance marketplace that utilizes the blockchain, like I said, and it allows those who need tasks completed to connect with gig workers from anywhere around the world. So we have put our grant up on Pomelo, and we are looking for support, and any kind of support you want to send to us, we are going to appreciate it very much. And we are happy to be here on the Pomelo Fireside. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Destiny. And also great that people from the Telos community come over to make good use of Pomelo, because Pomelo is supporting the whole Antelope ecosystem. Today,
hey Sam, hey Yana.
We had WaxDao coming over from Wax, making open source tools for NFTs, coming over from Wax, another Antelope chain. Having you guys here on the Fireside Chat makes me very happy that Pomelo brings public goods to the whole Antelope ecosystem. That's pretty cool. So
thank you.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So that pretty much wraps it up for today. Elias, I sent you a request. You said you were a little bit late. I don't have much prepared from your end. It's up to you if you want to quickly come on the stage and pitch, or if you want to sign up for next week and we are a little bit more prepared. It's up to you. I also want to welcome .gems on the stage. What an honor. Maybe .gems have a grant. You want to pitch last minute? Elias? Anyone? All right. Seems like that's it for today, everyone. Thanks for joining the Pomelo pitch sessions. Number 2, I'm super excited for next week. I will go through all your grants right now and do a deep search. There's also the Pomelo pitch collection, which everyone that participates here in these events will be featured in. So that's another plus for joining here, that you get extra exposure by being listed in the Pomelo pitch collection on Pomelo. And if you guys want to do your own collection, if you learned about something here, a group of grants that you really want to feature, then let's do this. It's pretty easy and pretty fun to create Pomelo collections. So yeah, that's it pretty much. Thanks for joining. And yeah, anybody wants to add something before we wrap it up?
See you guys. Thanks a lot.